Hello, my name is Rachel and I'm here today to do a wrap up for the month of December, the last month of 2018. This is going to be late. I'm filming this on the 6th of January and I've not going to have edited it probably for the next few days. So yeah, that's why there hasn't really been any videos from me. However, I did do a lot of reading in the month of December, so I wanted to mention those books today. Not going to be mentioning them in any particular order just because I haven't really planned this video, so I'm just going to pick up what I get. So in the month of December I read 12 books and I had a particularly good reading month. First up we have Boy Meets Boy by David Levithan, which I gave 3 stars. I read this as part of the Quail Readathon, I think it was. I didn't love this. I will say I didn't read this copy. I listened to it on audiobook while I was still in Switzerland and the audiobook pissed me off. It was a full cast audiobook and they kept putting random music and sounds in it that really wound me up. So I don't know if I read it properly, if I would have a different opinion, but I didn't love this and I gave it only 3 stars. This is about a boy who is openly gay. He's kind of been openly gay for a while, and his circle of friends, and they are about to graduate and just their lives. And then a book that I finished for the Quail Readathon was This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. Yes, I have been reading this for a while. Yes, I've finally finished it. Haven't given this a rating because enjoyment wise I didn't really enjoy it that much, but I think it's just that it wasn't meant for me. Personally, it's meant for someone younger than me who kind of doesn't know that much. They might not be out yet, and this is like a gateway to kind of understanding who they are. So yeah, this isn't for me, but I do think it would be really helpful for people who haven't come out yet, or who want to know more about gay people, or who want to be more sensitive to people's feelings and not offending them and things like that. So yeah, finished that one. I also read Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. I only read the story Breakfast at Tiffany's. There's like 4 stories in here, but I only read the first one, which is about 100 pages, and I really enjoyed it. I've only watched the film once and it was a long time ago, but I feel like the book was very different to the film, so I don't know whether it's just me being shit at remembering things or whether it is, but this was really good. However, I got told that there was some homosexual themes in here and I don't really think there were that many. There's like the occasional camp guy and I don't really think that qualifies it as an LGBT book, so yeah. This was alright. I also reread and then got up to date with Heartstopper, which is a webcomic by Oseman, which I really like. It's really cute. You should go and check it out. I will put it in the description box, but it is fantastic. Would highly recommend. And so yeah, I hadn't kept up with it because I would rather just leave it for a long period of time and then check back in and just reread everything instead. So read that, was good. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I'm not sure. Next, I picked up My True Love Gave It To Me, which is some Christmassy, wintry romance stories. I didn't read all of them because this is the kind of book that I will just dip in and out of for the next few Christmases until it's finished, but I did read the first 2 stories. The first one was Midnights by Rainbow Rowell, which I loved. I thought it was really cute, and I'd give that specific story 4 stars. But the next one I read was The Lady and the Fox by Kelly Link, and I would give that like 2 stars. It's not terrible, but it's also not good in the slightest really, so I didn't enjoy that one. Then I reread The Christmas Truce by Caroline Duffy, which is an illustrated poem kind of thing. So this is an account of the truce that happened during the First World War between the English and the Germans, and they famously played a game of football because it was Christmas. And yeah, this is just like a little story about that, which is a cute thing that I've read the last 3 Christmases, I think, because it's really fast to read. It only takes like 10 minutes, but it's very sweet. So I read that one. Then I read for the first time How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. I've only ever seen the film of this, I've never read it, so I picked up a copy this Christmas and gave it a try, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was adorable. Got me in the Christmas spirit, so I enjoyed that. I think I gave it like 3 or 4 stars. Then after I was home, I picked up Snotgirl by Bryan Lee O'Malley. This is volume 1, and in this we follow a fashion blogger who is this girl on the front and her life day to day for maybe a week. I really enjoyed this. This is the kind of graphic novel that I enjoy, so I'm not into the actiony, like something happening every minute kind of graphic novel. Like, I'm into quiet graphic novels with character development, which there aren't many of, but this is one of. And we follow someone who is ridiculously beautiful and famous and amazing, but at the same time carries around a lot of self-doubt and self-loathing, which is great to read because it's kind of like everyone has these feelings of hating themselves. It's not just if you're pretty you feel amazing, which I think is something that people think a lot. So this was really good. It's really well published as well. It's got like French flaps on the actual comic book, which is cool. Oh, and then a book I read an audiobook, because I feel I'm gonna forget it. I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I think I gave 4 stars. This was fantastic. So we follow a bisexual main character, which, yes, I was very there for that. At one point she picks someone up for calling her a lesbian and is like, don't just read me for what you see, like I didn't tell you I was a lesbian, so don't call me a lesbian, I'm a bisexual. And I was like, yes bitch, that happens to me all the time. That made me really happy to like see that in words on a page. This book was really cool. I feel like it was cool for me because I really love old movies. I watch a lot of movies with people like Vivian Leigh, Betty Davis, Doris Day, Marilyn Monroe. Like I like that kind of old movie, and so I kind of like the story that she's telling, and the kind of era that she's talking about is an era that I'm very fascinated by and very interested in. And I thought it was really cool how we like have this insight into her life and what we find out and how she is connected to our narrator. It was a good story and I enjoyed it, and it was one that I found myself like, I kept putting the audiobook on as I was like packing my suitcase or doing this or doing that, and it was a good like chill book to listen to. So yeah, that was good. The next thing that I read was Everyday Sexism by Laura Bates. I switched with this between book and audiobook, so I would read some of it and then listen to some of it because it is very statistic heavy and also sad, so it's hard to read at times. So I would recommend the audiobook. It's actually read by Laura Bates herself, so that's a really nice thing. I always like it when audiobooks are read by the actual person who wrote the book. This book basically collects a lot of the stories that were put on the Everyday Sexism Project website, which is a website to basically make people aware that sexism still exists. It's something that women have to deal with every day, and men have to deal with it every day too. It's kind of like a middle finger to all the people who say that we don't need feminism. I really enjoyed this. I think I gave it 4 stars because it, like I said, it was hard to read. So this was a good one. I would recommend it, but it is statistic heavy, and if you're not into that sort of thing, or if you want to actually talk about like movements forward, because this talks about a lot of the issues without talking about how we can combat them or move forward. However, Laura Bates does have another book called Girl Up, which is fantastic, which I think I read last year and adored, and that is basically like the next step after this book, and I think that book is better than this one in terms of hope and not feeling devastated when you get to the end of it, just feeling like things can change. So yeah, this was really good, but it wasn't the best thing, if that makes sense. I didn't really realise there was a link between Everyday Sexism and the next book. Should have realised. I read Everyday Sexism, I think I read another book in between, and then I read the next one, and that was a really weird coincidence because a lot of the stuff in that book kind of applies to the next one, and that is Asking for It by Louise O'Neill. So this book is very hyped, it's been talked about a lot on BookTube, and I get that no one wants to hear another person talking about the same book, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because this book had a really profound effect on me that I wasn't expecting. So going into this book, I knew the issues that it covered, and I assumed that I knew how it would go about it, and it didn't at all. The main character in this is called Emma, and I just assumed that, yes, it says that everyone's against her and there's this like slut shaming, rape culture-y type thing that this book touches on, but I assumed that this will be the people around her being horrible and that we'll be with her and she'll kind of be likeable and innocent, because that is a thing that is very common in these types of books, and that didn't happen at all. She is not a very nice person, and I think that was great because it gave that whole, just because someone isn't nice doesn't mean they deserve something like this. And I just thought it was fantastic. It was so well written, and it dealt with such important issues that I don't think have been dealt with in this way properly, because there is this intersection now with rape or abuse or something bad happening, and then social media and the media and picking that up, which we've seen a lot with people who've been convicted who are celebrities. That sort of intersection with the media has been quite horrendous and so it was interesting to see it tackled in a book. This is a first person present tense narrative, which was really hard to get into. However, that meant that we as a reader like stayed with her and felt what she felt and went through what she went through, which I think was just so much more impactful than like that like third person close that people usually use. I really enjoyed the way that it kind of kept us finding things out as she was finding them out, and it made it so much more horrifying because we kind of knew what was coming, but at the same time we didn't because we were right there with her. Yeah, this book's just had an impact, and I'm very aware of it as like I just go forward, like whenever I hear about any sort of like sexism or rape or abuse at the moment, like for the last like month, my head immediately goes to this book, and I can't help it because it's been that impactful. Don't want to say it's good because it's not fun to read. If you have any triggers concerning rape or sexual abuse, I wouldn't go anywhere near this book because it is very visual. It deals with important topics and it deals with them quite well in my opinion, so I would rate it for that. Then we have Call Me By Your Name by Aciman, which I'm not going to talk about because I did a full review of and absolutely adored. It's one of my favourite books of the year. If you want to watch that review, I will link it down below or in the cards somewhere and you can go and watch it. But yeah, I adored this book. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was just so beautiful. Then I read History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I have been saying I'm going to read an Adam Silvera book for like a year, but like every month I say the same thing. I say I'm going to read it and then I don't read it. Actually read one and very happy that I read one and happy that I've got another Adam Silvera back in Switzerland. This was fantastic. So this follows Griffin, and basically his ex Theo has just died and he goes to his funeral and he meets the current boyfriend that Theo had, which was, what's his name? Jackson. My favourite character in this book from the beginning, without counting what we find out later, was Wade. I think a lot of characters are very dislikable in this book, which I don't think is a negative. I thought they were dislikable in really human ways, so I enjoyed it. But we have a side character who kind of becomes a main character as the story goes on, called Wade, who I adored. Like, I adored him so much from the minute he came in, and I felt annoyed with the way he was treated by the main character because he's kind of ignored and treated as though like he didn't really lose someone because he wasn't going out with him, but he still lost his best friend. I enjoyed the way that we find out about Wade and Wade's life and Wade's relationships, and that was just super fun, and it made me more and more annoyed at the main character, to be honest. The more that we find out about the relationship between those two characters, and in my opinion someone taking a lot of advantage out of the other, got more and more annoyed, but at the same time was just like in love with Wade so much. I thought it was so nice and so lovely and so cute. Really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it 4 stars. It's just a really fun read. One of the things that I love with this book is that we have a character in here who has sex with 3 different people in the course of this book, and he's never judged for it. He's never made to be like, oh my god, he's sleeping around or anything like that. It's never even mentioned like that, which made me so happy. And also, whenever there is any sort of sexual relationship, they always mention condoms, and I'm like, that is so realistic. That is exactly what people don't mention, but that is like a thing that people obviously think of and is just thought of as not romantic, so we won't mention it, when actually it should be mentioned, especially in YA, so that people are aware that that's a thing if they haven't had sex before. I loved this book. I thought there were so many great things about it, and it was such a fun read. And the last book that I picked up this month was The 100 Nights of the Hero by Isabel Greenberg, which is one of my favourite graphic novels of all time. This was my second reading of it, and I loved it. I didn't love it as much as the first time I read it, but that was because the first time I read it with my girlfriend on Christmas Day when I'd been given it as a gift. That was amazing. So me reading it on my own can't really compare to that. However, it was a close second because it's still fucking beautiful and amazing. I love it so much. So yeah, this is fantastic and I would highly recommend it. Even if you're not into graphic novels, if you want to get into graphic novels, this is a great place to start because this is so beautiful and so wonderful and so not like other graphic novels, which you might not be into, because I'm not into the like generally considered normal kind of graphic novel. So yeah, go for this one. It's fantastic. They're all the books that I read in the month of December. That's the end to all of the books that I read in 2018. Comment down below what books you read in December, or if you've read any of the books that I've read and you like them, if you dislike them, if your opinions differ from mine. Oh my god, comment down below and let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!